Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing very well. For today's valued viewer request, we've got new from Mr. Roboto today. Arrogato, Mr. Roboto, or something like that. Here is one that might, yes, fun for a valued viewer request, and we've got a link here, North Star. Now it's a big link. Ghost and the other aircraft assigned to North Star's cell. North Star is the tanker in this case, and the Ghost is one of the Phantoms. Prepared to enter their tanker's area of responsibility. Out of the blue, Ghost began to experience difficulty with one of its twin General Electric J-79 engines. After bringing the other pilots up to speed on his situation, Ghost wingman circled underneath his Phantom to perform a visual inspection before coming up the other side. Ghost's wingman reported an oil leakage, confirming their worst fears. Clover contacted the emergency divert base at Gander, Newfoundland, which is Canada, and declared an emergency. Things began to rapidly deteriorate even further when the troublesome J-79 lost a substantial amount of thrust output. Though it was still turning, it was barely burning. The wounded Phantom slowed down considerably and lost altitude, even with its pilot's best efforts to counter the loss of power and lift. Not only was the number 2 J-79 marginally functional as it was supposed to, the number 1 engine began struggling and overheating. It's got one engine that's out and one that's overheating. As it was now saddled with the burden of keeping the heavy loaded Phantom in the air. To extend their range, the Phantoms had drop tanks filled with fuel underneath their wings that added weight and drag to the unseemly aircraft. Thinking quickly, Ghost decided to jettison his 3 external tanks in the hopes that the lighter weight and decreased drag would possibly ease the load on the overheating number 1 engine and allow for a regain in speed and altitude. Flying at a 45-degree nose up attitude was no easy task. I've read that several times and I don't understand what he's saying there. But is he trying to say he's travelling at 45 degrees alpha? That's not possible in a Phantom, so I'm guessing that is an error there. And if their circumstances weren't remedied right away, Ghost and his Wizzo were in for a swim in the frigid ocean. They definitely would not survive if it came to that. If either of the two of them didn't think their day could get any worse, fate decided to prove them wrong right there. After losing the tanks, part of the Phantom's hydraulic system failed, further crippling the jet and reducing the number of available options to the beleaguered crew down to 1. Ejection. While the crew of the half-paralysed Phantom got their wingman and the tanker in their assigned cell updated on the mess they were in, the crew aboard North Star, the tanker, were already working on possible stopgap solution to the problem. Just to buy the Phantom more time in the air, they tried to fly 520 miles towards Gander. They didn't just have to worry about 1 aircraft, 3 others needed fuel as well and would take time away from dealing with the crippled Phantom. Captain Goodman and Clover were given the order from the mission commander flying the KC-10 in their cell to turn their stratotanker around and provide whatever assistance they could. They quickly made their way towards Ghost and his wingman Rhino, and after positioning themselves above and forward of Ghost, began deploying speed brakes, rocking the aircraft, etc., so that they'll be able to slow down enough to maintain a forward velocity relative to that of the limping jet, which is obviously very slow. They were about to gas up. They initiated a first refueling hookup at around 4,500 feet, lower than the original plan and pushing the safety margins. Goodman began to increase his altitude, bringing Ghost up with him, so kind of pulling the plane up, which is interesting. Because of the dearth of fuel in the F-4E's tank, the aircraft was flying far slower than was Air Force procedure during the mid-air refueling, thus necessitating both 135 and the Phantom to adopt a high angle of attack to generate enough lift to keep both flying at such a low altitude above the ocean. Staff Sergeant Douglas Simmons, the boom operator aboard the tanker, had to compensate for the F-5E's constant movement towards the right thanks to the loss of the power in its number 2 engine, so it would be kind of yawing engine and partially dead hydraulic system, but was still able to insert the tip of the boom into the slot of the Phantom. I don't actually know how a Phantom refuels. Is it a male or a female? Beginning the vital transfer of fuel to the aircraft. Then
I think he uses a drogue.
then once again trouble struck. Actually looks like the Phantom's a female. I've got a KC-135 picture here, and it's fielding it like an F-16, which is a bloody nightmare. Maybe she's an F-16 actually. The F-4E simply couldn't maintain the link between itself and the tanker. It left the boom and began to dive downward, unable to remain in relatively level flight. Acting fast, Goodman and Clover throttled forward slightly and decreased altitude once more, attempting another refuel. This is actually, I know as far as combat stories go, refueling isn't really interesting, but this is actually really interesting. You've got a constant balance against keeping the plane refueled, which is going to keep it heavy, and keeping it moving, which it needs to be light because of its crippled engine. This is interesting. There was no way they'd let the Phantom crew fall into the Atlantic without a fight. After a thoroughly nerve-wracking bit of manoeuvring, another tanker between the F-4E and the KC-135 was established, and fuel once again began to flow between the two aircraft. This time, the airspeed indicator of the KC-135's cockpit showed 190 knots, just above the stratotanker's required landing speed. Even with a second refueling, the Phantom's chances of making it still slim, especially towards reaching Gander. Goodman, Clover and their crew moved back to attempt another series of refuelings of the crippled jet, 2 of which were successful. The fourth refueling was done at a mere 1,600 feet, so it's getting lower and lower and lower as it runs out of airspeed and trying to balance its energy. And we're down to 1,600 feet now, above the choppy waves of the North Atlantic. Perhaps the most amazing of all feats of airmanship performed by all pilots and crew involved was the fact that Goodman and Clover actually towed, with the refueling drogue, the Phantom for over 160 miles when the stricken fighter seemed to be unable to keep its altitude. So it was literally connecting and towing it along, you know. With time, the overheated number 1 engine cooled down significantly, and the Ghost was able to climb back up to 6,000 feet with the assistance of the 135 towing it, now something of a guardian angel to him and his Wizzo, disengaged from the boom and breaking it off from the flight for one last time, and then they managed to go and land. So the 1-3 with intelligent cooperation between the stricken fighter and the tanker, they managed to get this thing home, and otherwise wouldn't have been able to get home. And by refueling and helping it by dragging it and things like that. Now we can't go and do that because we don't have a flyable. You need a human flyable tanker to be able to do something that intelligent cooperation. So we can't go and do this test. There's just no way of doing it. Also, a tanker can't tow a plane in DCS. It can't give you any kind of boost at all. Whether you can kind of lock the probe in on this one manually in real life and tow the jet like that, I'm guessing that's how they did it in real life, but we can't do it in DCS. So we need to find what we consider the most relevant challenge that we can think of to pay homage to this event. Stand by. So we've thought long and hard about this. Now we cannot do what they've did in the real life. We don't have intelligent tankers. We don't have tankers that can pull you in any way. So we've got to use our imagination. What we've decided to do is this aircraft. This is a beleaguered aircraft, okay? I've got only 10% fuel, which is 1,100 pounds of fuel to get 50 miles to a base over there. Now, if I went really slow and really conservatively and dropped all of my stores, I could just about make it. But to make it harder, I've got full stores. So I could go and refuel because there's a tanker just behind me that I'm going to hook up with. But that would still be too easy because there's no challenge in just refueling. So what about this? What about if a P-51 shoots my fuel tanks and I'm streaming fuel, so there's no way I could get back. So I have to stay connected to a fuel tanker while streaming fuel out of my wing fuel tanks. And we can see if the tanker can refuel me faster than the rate of fuel loss to get me there. Does that or does that not sound interesting, valued viewers? I think you'll find it's interesting. Are you ready to shoot me up, RC?
Ready, but you don't have any fuel in your wing tanks, do you?
Oh, how would I tell? Remember how to tell?
Look on your fuel page.
You know what? I don't reckon it'll be modelled that well anyway, but
yeah.
I don't know. Just try and get some white mist out of me. Right. Just tell me if you want me to go faster or slower or whatever.
I'm not sure where to hit you. How am I catching you? Wow.
Because I'm a considerate F-18 driver, unlike some people. Right. I'm ready for you to shoot me.
Oh.
Yes, I see. Can I help at all? Your tiny little lady bullets aren't doing anything.
Yeah, they are. On my screen, your engines are on fire.
Well, they're not on mine, so come and shoot me. Shoot me with your guns, RC. Mainly with the guns.
I am shooting you.
You are? Oh, that's
We're
excellent.
on a different server. I can't see with all the fire coming out of your engines.
Well, I haven't got any fire on my screen. Have we just discovered yet another bug here? And I've got normal fuel burn. This is embarrassing.
Okay, hang on, coming up.
My tanker's coming now. Why won't I die?
Hit. Okay, there you go.
If we're going to fuel leak.
Yeah, well, you got on my screen. You got a fuel leak.
Oh, it says 0 fuel. Okay, we think I've got a fuel leak. I've got no amount of fuel displayed, so we just have to hope for the best. You know what? I can't drive this. I've
You got no electrics left.
I got no radio.
Look at your MFDs. They're dead.
Roger. I've also got no control. I'm full right.
Just because you have no engines, because I blew your engines out.
And I can't connect him. God damn it! How hard is this? What are we going to do, RC? Okay, valued viewers, we had a minor problem with multiplayer desync. We're going to try again.
Okay. On my screen, you're trailing white mist.
Roger. Okay, well that's going to mean that basically because of desync issues, we're not going to be able to get it trailing smoke. However, let's change it. Can I now refuel with my ailerons and flaps missing? That's the nearest I could think of doing.
The other one's off too.
Nope. Where's the tanker, RC? There he is. No, yes, there he is. Right. Supercap's off. And I'm going to deliberately burn. You can come and refuel with me. I'm going to deliberately burn so that I'm not going to have enough fuel to get back. And I have to refuel while damaged. This is going to be too easy. How about I have to refuel and you get to shoot me while I'm refueled and I've got to stay on the hose.
Okay.
You get 1 bullet for every mile or something. I don't know. I haven't figured it out. It is still hard to fly like this. I'm not going to... Alright. It's hard.
I don't know how you. It's going to be harder as you're trying to maintain.
Alright, now you come and find... Oh, you're not going to catch us up, are you? Oh, god damn it.
I don't know if I can. We'll see.
No, you won't.
I might be catching you.
I can tell you were not catching us up. Oh, ha ha! PIO! Oh, what happened, Aussie? Oh, what the hell? Was that you?
I didn't see. No, no, I can't.
Man, there's something. My wing just snapped off, even though I didn't hit anyone.
Snap off, yeah.
Yeah, it's because of the damage. Well, the answer is, I paused that there. The answer is no, you can't refuel with a damaged F-18 because your wing snaps off. This is the weirdest, stupidest video we've ever done. I can't think of anything else to do. We can't get a fuel leak. Oh, if you're saying dump fuel, you can't. It only dumps down to £2,000 on any of the planes. So we can't dump fuel. I can't think of anything else we can actually do
14,
here.
Does it?
No, we're going to try the 14th demo. Do you just put the dump switch on? Is that what you do, chaps?
Yes.
Well, it doesn't work then, does it?
I don't see any. What?
It doesn't work.
Does it snap off?
No, it just doesn't dump. I mean, you got to do something else. I'll try it with high fuel.
Right now?
Supercap, dumping fuel. Yeah, and it's, no, you can't do it below 2,000. You can't dump when it's low. No, my apology, valued viewers, is just the first one we've come across where we just cannot find anything to test in DCS of any relevance. Everything stops us, so...
1,500 pounds per minute.
Yeah, but again, it will stop dumping. As soon as I get down to 2,000 pounds, it just stops dumping. So I just cannot find a way of testing this thing. So never mind. I hope you enjoyed the story anyway. See you later.